I'm Bailey with Kodiak Manufacturing. We're out here today with our 6-foot medium duty rotary cutter. Our medium duty line consists of 5 and 6 foot widths. They're all constructed with 11 gauge thick top deck. Of course, they feature our solid welds all the way around the entire cutter deck. We got 3-inch top channel running from the front to the rear of the cutter for a nice strong brace. And then we have 4-inch channel that runs from this top channel out to the end of your cutter deck. Of course, we've got our gearbox channel, and it's got solid welds on the back, the front, and both sides. Like we talked before, your gearbox channel is the life of your cutter, so you want a nice thick gearbox channel and also solid welds on it. And also we've got all our bracing connecting into our gearbox channel to really make a strong base on this cutter. Of course, all Kodiak rotary cutters are primed before receiving a high quality gloss paint. This cutter comes with a 90 horsepower gearbox. Of course, we have our 5-year warranty on all boxes. And it comes in slip clutch or shear pin, whichever you prefer. We got a slip clutch out here today with a Series 4 drive line. We got our quick hitch, or actually our flex hitch, my bad, on here, which actually allows this cutter to flex. The hitch flexes, so basically if you're backing up a bank or something that's not level with your tractor, instead of your cutter actually pushing against the bank, the rear of your cutter will actually lift up, pivot up so that you don't scalp and you keep a nice clean cut. Nice thing we also do on all our lift type rotary cutters is our heavy duty 3x3 tubing tail wheel assembly. There's a few reasons we do it. One at which most other competitors use a triangular shaped flat bar design, and which that flat bar is a lot weaker than tubing, so it tends to bend. And once you bend that flat bar, your tail wheel out on the end's crooked, sideways, whatever, and you're not getting a nice even cut from the get-go. Also, most of these flat bar tail wheel assemblies we're talking about that other people have on their cutters, they bolt right here on the same tabs that your back braces bolt to. And what tends to happen over time, your back braces work back and forth, and also your tail wheel assembly works back and forth a little bit. It ends up loosening up these bolts and nuts. And if you're like me, you don't want to have to get off the tractor and tighten them back up. Also, another thing about this tube, you've got all this open area right around it that you can back up beside trees and things like that, cut real close. Whereas, a flat bar design will come out in here and you can't cut right here. Another thing when looking at this cutter, a lot of manufacturers have went to what they call dome deck or flat deck cutters. They have no bracing on top. And their theory is that, if it's domed, then the material will really come off of it easy, or it's very easy to clean off. So they put their bracing under the cutter or whatnot, which we'll talk about the underside of the cutter here in a little bit. But the reason we put our bracing on top is really, if you're mowing along and you've got a lot of material build up on your cutter, you can see it. Putting the bracing up under the deck, if you got bracing up under there, material balls up under the cutter where you can't see it, in the corners, cracks, everywhere like that. And we would a lot rather be able to see the material on our deck and be able to clean it off the top. Just get off the tractor and clean it off, instead of not knowing what's under our cutter, and also trying to get up under our cutter, which is unsafe in the first place, to try to clean it out. So if you notice, we've got all nice open, everywhere on this cutter is open. It's nice. We've got a 1/2 inch thick welded on cutter ears right here. Whereas a lot of other manufacturers, they use a bolt on ear, so they'll probably have like 2 bolts right here. What those bolts, just like these up here, they tend to loosen up, and over time they start bending when you run it with loose bolts and nuts in it. And then when you go to hook back up to your cutter after you've unhooked and done something else, it's really hard to hook to something that's crooked. We're going to go back here to the back of the cutter and talk about a few things. Now that we're back here, I'm going to go ahead and hit on what we were talking about having the bracing up under the deck that a lot of manufacturers are doing now. And like I say, you know, they may have bracing running here, here, all over. And what I was trying to explain was that, you know, up in the cracks and corners of this bracing they've got on the deck, material balls up, and instead of a deck rusting from the top down, so rusting from the top of the cutter down, you start rusting from the bottom up and you never know it till it's too late. But of course, we've got our 7-inch tall channel sides, where we've talked about a lot of manufacturers use a folded deck, a one-piece deck that they fold the sides down with. There's a few reasons why we use this channel. One is we get this lip right here that our cutter can run on without tearing up our ground. With a folded deck, you basically got a straight edge here, and that straight edge can tear into your ground, tear up your ground, and we want to tear up our ground as little as possible. Also, this channel side is pretty strong. It's a lot stronger than just, you know, if you folded 11 gauge top deck down. And it's a rotary cutter. Hey, you're going to beat it up, you're going to hit it against trees, get it in places. And what tends to happen with the guys with folded decks, they bend this side in, and then their blades start hitting their side, which is no good. We don't want that to happen. Now, a nice, neat thing that we're one of the only manufacturers in the country that does this. You know, you hear, you know, stump jumper this, stump jumper that. And what most people think is a stump jumper is a bent pan. Well, we do it a little different. On our medium lining up, we go with a flat, rounded plate of steel. And like this one here, this is a 5/8 inch thick blade carrier here. Whereas most other lines comparable to our medium cutter will have about a 1/4 inch bent pan, a light 1/4 inch pan. And the reasons why we do this is plasma cut. So it's 100% exact. It's on the money. And when you get to bending pans and stuff, especially when you get into thicker material, you know, you're never 100% right on it. You know, there's always one side that's a little different than the other. Well, this is 100% plasma cut. Okay. The other reason why we do this right here is a lot heavier than a 1/4 inch bent pan. So what this allows you to do, say you get in something thick and you've got a slip clutch model. When it slips, say you slip your clutches, and this 5/8 inch thick is going to cut a whole lot longer than inertia of it than a light 1/4 inch pan if your clutches are slipped. So you're going to maintain a nice cut for a little while after your clutches slip. Also, of course, the big reason, nobody likes to replace stump jumpers. And those bent pans, a lot of manufacturers have trouble. You know, they have to send out a lot of pans. We send out very few of these right here because of this reason. And what we have, instead of bending this 5/8 inch thick, we've got these two pieces of angle iron, one here and one on the bottom. And what this does is, say you're coming up and you hit a stump. You're going to hit this angle first. It's going to jump the whole cutter up, and you're going to ride right across this right here. So in essence, you're not going to get a stump caught back up in here, which, like I say, you know, it's really a nice feature that we do. Of course, you've got your angle iron frame to the cutter. You got replaceable skid shoes, which is a nice feature that not many manufacturers do. So if you wear out this black skid, all you have to do is loosen up 3 bolts, put a new set of skids on, tighten them back down, and you're good to get back in the field. We've got our optional Z-channel chain guards on this cutter today, and we do recommend that every rotary cutter is purchased with a set of chains. Medium lines available in pull type in the 5 and 6 foot widths. And for any more information or to locate your nearest dealer, please call our sales department at 423-336-2390.